Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
It's a great day. I'm Mark Imperial. For the past 7 years, I've scoured the globe looking for noteworthy experts, businesses, people, places, and things. On this special edition of the show, we'll meet some of the world's leading professionals in health, nutrition, and fitness, people from all across the country, around the world, and in your town. Welcome to the program. On this segment, my next guest is Brian Isley from Acceleration DTS, which stands for Acceleration Dynamic Training Systems, based out of Burlington, North Carolina. Brian, welcome to the program.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Brian, tell us a little bit about Acceleration DTS and the types of clients that you help.
Well, we've been in business now for about 7 years, and the way I have the business set up and designed is enable us to really train and help a variance of people. Just being that with my education and background, for example, anywhere between youth athletes and from paraplegic folks that have been in accidents, and so the business kind of ranges from a vast array of different people, and that's one of the reasons that I guess we've stood the test of time. So,
oh, right on.
It's really hard to explain it to some degree, just because it's not like we don't do boot camps per se, just specifically, or PT or physiotherapy. It just depends on the client, what they inquire, and what their specific needs are.
I see. It sounds like you have a variety of different programs aimed at different folks. How is that? Did you start out with all those variety of clients, or did you start out with a certain specialty?
Yeah, not originally. Like when I got out of college, it's one of those things where you think you know quite a bit until you understand that you don't. So it got to the point where I knew that for me to survive in this industry, I would have to really be aggressive in expanding who I could work with, because, I think that a good training business should be able to accommodate almost every individual from, 100 pounds overweight to top athletes. And, again, I've trained Olympic athletes all the way up to folks that needed to lose 100 pounds. And, having the program to do so is really key.
I see. So yeah, tell me a little bit about the when folks come to see you. Are they advanced athletes? Are there a lot of like newcomers?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that with the business, since it's been local to some degree, and we've since expanded to online training now, so that's another big thing that I do. But generally speaking, in the area, people kind of know me for training, I guess, a more advanced, not necessarily athlete, but client, which isn't really the case. It's just I condition them so I've gotten a lot of people that come in and just aren't in very good shape, and I basically build up their conditioning level and their ability. So everybody appears to be training at advanced level, but not everybody started like that. So I would say 60% of the folks I get are in good shape. They just want to be in better shape.
Oh, I see. So what do you find like is the most common challenge with your clients that they all kind of come in and have? Do they all have the certain commonality on their challenges to become successful in fitness?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is time. A lot of it is knowledge, and a lot of it is just the things that we deal with as human beings. It's being able to stick with things, and not necessarily because I educate a lot, and what I found that most people have difficulty with is not necessarily knowing the way, because I kind of show them the way, doing like custom nutrition programs and educational type things, is actually, taking that first step and taking that initiative to actually do it on their own, I guess. So yeah. I would say, just the things that diet and consistency on the diet realm really makes or breaks a lot of clients, especially if you're going for results, it just depends on whatever they're in the gym for, whatever they're in the facility for. Some folks just like to come in for a great workout, or they're rehabbing something and they're not necessarily worried about losing weight. Then there's the other end of the spectrum where people are looking to lose a lot of weight really fast. And, those are the ones that have to be a little more specific with their diet and their supplementation and all that other stuff. So
Yeah, being on radio, we love education and education-based marketing, as we find that that's what people want. They want answers to their problems. They don't want advertising, so to speak.
Yeah.
So when you mention
exactly.
you mentioned that you educate, is that like different platforms that you use to attract clients? Do you give talks and things of that nature to attract prospective clients?
Yeah. I'll do like public speaking engagements around the city and around the area, or just Facebook and YouTube, that sort of thing, and just on a daily basis, almost just reminding people and trying to teach something to somebody every single time they come in, whether it's something biomechanically speaking, and sometimes they may not even want to know or need to know, but I just feel the need to just tell them just so they know that. At least they know that I know what I'm talking about. And then, it's one of those things where if people are really fishing for knowledge, I really love to teach. And if not, I'll put them through whatever they want to be put through and not necessarily go about the teaching. But yeah, YouTube and Facebook and just seminars and public speaking engagements, things like that.
So you do a lot of content, which is awesome. So what have you found of all the different topics that you've talked about? What did you see really strike a chord where you say, oh boy, these people really respond to this. They want to know more about this subject. What would that subject be?
Well, here recently, I found a really good niche in like men that are over 40. So as we age, obviously one of the mechanisms of I guess, muscle growth, or not just muscle growth, but just looking our best. Muscles are going to be able to produce more force as we're younger. We just have better joint lubrication. We have youth on our side. So like I found a lot of guys that are coming up over 40 have been interested in being able to be taught how to move weight specifically and how to exercise specifically, so they're not tearing up their joints. They're still getting and making progress and making gains. So they're actually training their muscles and not their joints and not their connective tissues. They're getting inflamed all the time. And this has to do with a lot of different things like inertia, momentum. And I kind of label some of my teaching series as the physics of fitness. We're basically in a laboratory, being the gym. Mm-hmm. And, I don't necessarily look at it the same way as most people do. We're in a controlled environment, so we can move things with the speed we want. We can do things how we want to do it. There's nobody sitting there, telling us to do it any other way. We can manipulate all these things. So that's the big niche now that I've really had a lot of guys come on board with. And other than that, it's just nutrition, because everybody's kind of on the blind side when it comes to nutrition.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of information out there. I like that. It just rolls off the tongue when you think of, physics of fitness over 40. That'd be a good headline for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the play on words works pretty good, right?
Yeah, it sounds good. So you mentioned things that people should know, but they don't know that they should know, right? So give me an example of something that you wish people knew that they absolutely don't know, and they don't even know they should know, but they should know. So it's like we call that a should ask question, because there's always the frequently asked questions, but then there's I wish they would ask about this. What would that be? Yeah,
I think for the most part, that can be a big, long topic, but I think the most part is the fact that, everything that you eat, everything that you put in your body has a subsequent reaction, like whether it's a sugar, whether it's a protein, whether it's a fat, and all the subsidiaries of those. So I really, I think everything that we do to our body, it's our own body. So we should know what we're putting into it, what reactions it's causing, to some degree. Now, I'm not saying you have to have a degree in biochemistry or anything, but just a general knowledge of, hey, I control my insulin levels, which is basically the main hormone that's going to predict whether I lose weight or gain weight. So how do I manipulate these things to my advantage? And as soon as you figure that out, and you can learn how to manipulate these hormones, then you can basically do whatever with your body as you want. And it's really hard sometimes to grasp that, because everybody's on the calorie side of things. Got to count calories and do this. But I found it's the complete opposite. You can get away with actually sometimes eating less or more than you would otherwise need if you're really focusing on the types of foods, and not only the types, but when you're putting them in your body. So one of the first things I teach people is that, there's no such thing as an essential sugar, but there are essential amino acids, which are proteins, and essential fatty acids, which are fats, right? So our body can run really, really well on proteins and fats and not necessarily need a ton of sugar or a ton of carbohydrates. So that's one of the things I really wish people could learn and pick up on a little bit faster, I guess.
Well, that sounds like an interesting topic for some content too, and a special report. I could see like a checklist being useful, sort of like the side effects of nutrition for fitness, and making a list of just a short checklist people can use.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't have to be super complicated either. I think.
So Brian, you've been doing this for a while. What got you started in fitness and nutrition? What inspired you?
Well, I initially, two different things primarily. One was sports and athletics. I was in baseball as a young man, and I had a lot of injuries. One specifically to my shoulder, which led me to basically being in a rehab setting for years for my shoulder. And I got a feel for this is something I could do. I like the performance side a bit more than the rehab side. So I like meshing the two together now, and the other end of the spectrum was, and really what keeps me in this is my mom. My mom was very unhealthy, basically ended up dying of obesity, and the obesity led to a ton of other problems, from heart disease to, you name it. She had about everything in the book, and she passed away pretty early in her life, not even 50 years old, in her sleep. And I was actually in college getting my degree as wanting to help her basically get out of this big hole that she had dug herself. But because I'm just one of those people that I don't want to help. Well, I do want to help people, but I don't want to go into something not knowing exactly what to do. It's kind of like going into a heart surgery and not knowing how to do the heart surgery.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I wanted to educate myself to a point where I could get my mom, and get her back on her feet and that sort of thing. So that's one reason. And, just dealing with helping people that are in that similar situation. Really, I kind of see her and some people that come in, and that really kind of, I guess, just personally allows me to stay with it even when the times get rough, So those are the two primary things. So one was the athletics, and the other was my mom.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, I could see that your mission is about much more than business.
Yeah. I've definitely, and my clients will tell you, I've had a couple of little breakdowns with them, where I'll shed some tears, where, it's like you want to help somebody more than they want to help themselves. And it's just like, please, it's just, but again, it's getting back to the human conditioning thing. We get so wrapped up in what we're doing, and it's just very hard to change, very hard to break bad habits,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's definitely a byproduct of passion, for sure. So Brian, how do our listeners, if they're near Burlington or they want to connect with you and learn more about Acceleration DTS, how can they find you?
Well, generally just the email, which you can get off the website, which is www.acceleration/DTS.com. And, we have email addresses listed on there, and that's usually the best way to get to me. I'm generally working all the time doing something, training or training other folks. And so it's always better via email or even Facebook Messenger is fine, just to get that initial contact with me.
All right, terrific. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, Brian, and sharing your knowledge. You have a lot of great information, and I wish you continued success for you and all of your clients.
Well, thank you for having me, bud. I really appreciate the opportunity.
We're in the middle of a special edition for our fitness, health, and nutrition show. On this segment, my next guest is Javier Ferrer from submittofitness.com out of New Jersey. Javier, welcome to the program.
Oh, thanks for having me, Mark.
Javier, tell us about Submit to Fitness. I understand it's CrossFit. So tell us about your business and the type of folks that you help.
For our business, when it first started out more personal training, then went into group training. Then a couple of years after that, we fully converted into CrossFit. We help out, pretty much the general public, anywhere from as young as 10 years old and as seasoned to 65, 70 years old. We have, a great community that myself and my girlfriend, when we only started with 5 individuals, 5 pieces of equipment. We didn't advertise. those 5 individuals, they started spreading the word around, and fast forward 4 years later, almost 5 years, we're up to about 85, 90 members.
Oh, that's terrific. So it's really a lot of word of mouth to build your business.
Yes. Well, now that we're starting to advertise a little bit more out there, we have our vision is to expand and go more from a CrossFit facility to more of a fitness facility where CrossFit is just, it'll be one of our programs, but we'll have other entities as well that will make up the whole Submit to Fitness umbrella, basically.
What type of folks are attracted to? Are you finding that you attract a lot of newcomers to CrossFit, or are you getting seasoned veteran people that are fitness enthusiasts already?
We're getting a little bit of both. We're getting a lot of the weekend warrior type, and as well as people that have done other stuff, like maybe work out at a gym on their own and was looking for something a little bit more challenging, or wanted to be part of more of a group setting where, have a little bit more fun with their training. So we're getting a little bit of everything. But if I was to, narrow it down, we're getting that, the average person that just wants to feel better and get a little bit more fit,
What do you find are the most common challenges that you see your new members face when they first come in?
Well, now that, CrossFit is becoming a little bit more mainstream, it's coming up. It's, the ESPN shows the games and stuff like that. I've been getting a lot of, people coming up to us saying, well, I don't know if I could do this, I'm a little intimidated. I watched it on TV, and then, of course, we reassured them that everything that we do is it's scalable to the person's fitness needs, and we do a very extensive assessment for them, to figure out where they will start within our program. So I think more of an intimidation factor, and once they see that they could actually do it, and and it's scalable to their fitness level, they're more reassured about it, and they go head on.
So it's piqued their interest, so they're brave enough to call, but they're still apprehensive then. What do you find is like the one or two most common questions that they ask you?
Our most common question is like, are they, will they be able to do it? Is it something that, is there a lot of, weightlifting? Is there a lot of, intensive workouts? That's basically a lot of the questions I get lately.
Oh, right on. So give me an example when, for our listeners who may not be familiar with CrossFit and might be interested in learning more, tell me what that looks like, and what kind of a regimen or a program would you create for somebody new coming in?
Well, again, based on, we do one-on-one consultations with all our prospects, and we pinpoint what is their why is it that they walk into the doors, and then based on that, we'll do a full assessment, see where their strengths are at, and where improvement needs to be changed, for them to hit those goals. And the way we structure our program, we have 3 different stages in our program where we could determine what stage they're going to start. So before anything, we want to make sure that they pinpoint their goals, and then from there we'll see what is it that we have to work with, and then we'll determine what's the best fit for them.
When you see the games, it looks really extreme. So I can imagine there's a lot of folks that think, well, hey, this is like an extreme thing. Who exactly is CrossFit right for? Is it right for an ordinary person as well?
Oh, absolutely, because there is two there's 2 types of CrossFit. You have the fitness side of it, that's for the everyday, day-to-day person that wants to work out, get more fit, want to sweat, or possibly maybe down the line want to get into mud runs or compete in what we call throwdowns, which is competition among CrossFit gyms. And then you have the sport aspect of it, where is what you see on ESPN. There's 2 extremes, but CrossFit, if I was to say, everybody and anybody can do it. We have perfect examples of a lot of individuals in our community that will attest to that.
Sounds like the competitive nature of it is sort of like built-in accountability and keeps people motivated.
Absolutely. It's everybody pretty much the way our community is built is based on like-minded individuals. That pretty much every individual that trains within our programs end up being like assistant coaches. Somebody new comes on board, everybody goes out of the way to help them out. So there's no judgment in our facility. There's everybody's there to help each other out and make everybody feel comfortable. And that's the reason why myself and my girlfriend, when we first started, we wanted to get that across the board, and that's how that's how we run our programs now.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that. How did you get started, and how were you inspired?
I was inspired because back then, 5 years ago, I was heavily into martial arts. I was testing. We got a warning basically that in 10 months we were going to test. At the time I was going to test for my third degree, and our instructor said, in 10 months you're going to test, and it's going to be very extensive. And, it's going to be full out contact, sparring and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to find something that was going to help me out, and I found CrossFit. Got me ready. To fast forward 10 months, 11 months down the line, got me ready. Had me in the best shape of my life, and from there, I said, that I knew there was a void in the martial art world where there, we did train, we did, do conditioning with our in our dojo, but there was nothing that we knew of that supplemented what we was doing to get better at martial arts, or at least in our program. And that's how I found CrossFit, and I decided to continue with CrossFit, and then got inspired by my coach. My coach ended up being a good friend of ours, and I started, doing group training, and then eventually I went into personal training. And basically I wanted to stick to the combative type of athletes, like, more martial arts, football players, rugby players, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So that's how the word Submit Fitness came about. I was trying to find a name. It took me 2 days to try to find a name. So I started saying, all right, submission, fitness, something for submission wrestling, submission grappling. I said, wait a minute, submit to fitness. So after, I decided, all right, I'm going to be a combative athlete coach, I started getting more of the general public. And that soon changed, and I took off from there.
I really like the name because it actually has that double meaning. It's like submission, fitness, or it's also like submit to fitness and finally get fit. So I like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
that's
for our listeners out there that may be near you. Tell us where exactly you're located and how they could find you and learn more.
Well, we're located at 10 Meadowlands Parkway in Secaucus, New Jersey. We're in a strip mall that we have quite a few other businesses neighboring to us. We're across the street from a hotel called the Red Roof Inn, in between two major highways, 3 East, 3 West. And you could read, we could be, our website is submitsfitness.com, and we also have a Facebook account, Submits Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, and that's how we, the audience, could check it out.
And just to clarify, the URL is Submit to Fitness, and that's the number 2 fitness.com, correct?
The number
2 fitness.com. Yes. Hey, Javier, I really appreciate you joining me on the program. You have great information for anyone interested in CrossFit and fitness in general. I know, as you mentioned, you're expanding. So I wish you continued success for you and all of your clients.
Awesome. Thank you.
We're in the middle of a special edition for health, nutrition, and fitness. On this segment, my next guest is Debra McKeown from Custom Body Solutions out of Ventura, California. Debra, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Debra, tell us about Custom Body Solutions and the types of clients that you help.
Okay. My company is run out of Ventura, California. I have a studio there, but I do travel to most of my clients, and the reason why I travel to them is they're typically in nursing homes, or they cannot climb stairs, so I go to their location. I work with people that are usually in their 60s, and the oldest client I've had is 98. And I currently have a few clients in their 90s right now. So what I do is I go in, meet a client, and figure out what they can do. And sometimes they cannot do very much. Sometimes they're suffering from late-term Alzheimer's, and they're unable to feed themselves, and they get very little movement from their limbs. And so I take what they can do, and I start with that. And we just start building in strength and their abilities to do more. Maybe it's their ability to get up and down from a chair. Maybe it's their ability to walk again. I have a client right now. She's 91, and her doctors told her she probably wouldn't be able to walk again, and she is walking with a walker. So it's a different type of fitness. My clients usually have some type of injury to work around. But it's fun. It's the bridge between physical therapy and getting people to continue with those type of exercises until they get to the place where they really want to be. And I normally work with them about twice a week. And it's just a passion of mine, this age group. They love it. It builds their self-esteem. They get excited that they can do something about their health at their age. Most people haven't really exercised a lot in their lifetime, and when they realize how much more they can do once they get stronger, they get excited, and they have a feeling of hope and purpose in their lives.
Yeah, so working with that special clientele, I'd imagine there's a bunch of misinformation or lack of information out there. I mean, I've heard people think that they're just too old to exercise, or, oh, I can't do that anymore. What are some of the common myths out there that you'd like to let people be aware of?
Well, a lot of times what happens is if somebody who's elderly, let's say they fall and break a hip or what have you, and they're in the hospital for a long time, they could lose over half of their muscle mass. And sometimes when they come out of those hospital situations, they're unable to do a lot of the things they used to do. And a lot of times, caregivers will just assume that that's where they're at, and they'll never regain that. But even in your 90s, you can still regain a lot of muscle.
Is that right?
People do not realize that. Yeah. I have an example is I have a male client, and he's 79. And when I first started with him, he had been in the hospital for over a year, very weak. Everything was very difficult, was lifting 2-pound dumbbells and doing the bicep curl, and now is up to 7 pounds. And he's very excited about his big muscles and shows them off. But he said, I've changed from the attitude that what are the things I can't do, and now he says to himself, what are the things that I can do? Because he realizes now he can do so much. He had really given up on getting better. And so that inspires him to meet with me each week. And he just continues to grow in strength and abilities. So there's a lot of exciting stories like that one, too.
I can imagine that there's a lot of limiting beliefs in that age group. So that leads me to wonder, like, you're doing super important work. So I imagine that you have to do quite a bit of outreach to get your message heard and let them know that there are no limitations and they can do stuff. Like, how do folks find you? Do you find that you have to go find them and let them know they can still work out, or do you have people actively seeking you out?
Well, people will see me at the nursing homes. They're not really nursing homes, but assisted living facilities. And they'll ask. And I also have a business card that explains that I deal with, Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and that kind of thing. So a lot of times it's word of mouth, or they'll see me working with another client and then call and ask me about the program, or they'll call me for the massage therapy, and I'll say, "Oh, were you calling about the massage and the exercise?" And they'll say, "Well, exercise. Well, my husband, he can't even move, And I'll say, "Well, let me come in and do a massage, and then I'll let you know if I think I can do something with him." Okay. So this one client in particular couldn't move anything. I mean, he wasn't even feeding himself. And this was all because of the advanced Alzheimer's. But I brought in a little bicycle, and I put it down by his wheelchair, and I every session just started cycling his feet, and his brain has been able to relearn that motion because it's simple. And now he bicycles that bike by himself. I could put the bike up there, and he's actually now moving his legs, and he holds 5-pound dumbbells in the air, to strengthen the biceps. So he can't do a lot, but he's doing a lot more than he was. At least he's still getting some muscle and some movement where he was absolutely had nothing. So sometimes it's just small improvements, but it makes a world of difference for the client, because you know what? They still matter. They still want to matter. And so that would be just that would be an example of somebody that was absolutely not able to do hardly anything at all, that actually still was able to advance, even though he's had Alzheimer's for 12 years. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So how did you get inspired to get into fitness and nutrition, especially for this age group? And how'd you get started?
I didn't start by thinking I was going to even work with this age group. I started working with weight loss clients, and so I had the younger clientele and really middle age. Okay, but what I noticed was a lot of them had injuries of some kind. Like one lady came to me and she needed to get double knee replacements, but she wanted to work around that. So I started designing programs for people that thought they couldn't exercise because they had injuries that were keeping them from doing anything. And I was able to still design full body workouts and not irritate that area of injury. And then one day, a woman called and said, "Will you come and work with my 91-year-old mother? Her physical therapy is done, and now we need her to exercise, but she's too depressed." And so I was like, okay. I went out and fell in love with this woman, and I just knew it was like a spark. I just knew I had to work with these people because they are just sitting there and they need people to come to them and personally grab them by the hand and say, "Come on, let's go. Let's do this as a team." And I was just so inspired that I just started to talk to other people at the assisted livings. I got my card out there, and then people just keep calling. And it's a passion from my heart. And that's why I don't have employees working for me, because I don't want to run employees. I want to do this. This is the best thing that ever happened to me.
Oh, the work that you do is so incredibly important. I have aging parents myself, and I know they have a lot of negative self-talk and say, "Oh, I'm too old. I can't do anything. I'm not going to leave the house." So I can see it, the challenges that you might face, motivating people and getting them to get back into their fitness at their age. So what piece of advice would you give to somebody so that they don't, sabotage their fitness, and what would get them going and get them started on the path to fitness and health again?
Well, my first visit, I always come out for free. And what I tell caregivers is, let me come out and talk to your loved one, and I'll probably have them convinced that this is a good plan for them. And so when I come out, I just tell them about some of my other clients. Of course, I never give out names. Privacy is very important for me. But I give ages. I tell them what they could do in the beginning and what they're doing now, and that gets them excited. And I start to have them do just some testing exercises, like try this, try that. Maybe they'll do a bicep curl with a 1 pound weight, and they'll say, oh, this is so hard. And I'll say, in a month, you're going to think that is so easy. And I just get excited. I'm like, you're going to feel better. You can do more things. I ask them, what can you not do? A lot of them, they say, it's just hard to get out of my recliner. And I'll work from there, and I'll say, I can help you. And I'll maybe give them a page that gives them instructions on how to get out a little easier, the way they move their body. They go through these steps. And then I don't know what I do, except I just am very positive with them. And I'm like, no matter where you're at, you're going to be stronger. You're going to be able to do more, and you're not going to have to ask for as much help. And they really like that. And and then I try to find out what were the things they used to do that they left. So I had a 98-year-old that couldn't get out of her room, but she played tennis. So I said, well, guess what? I'm bringing in some tennis rackets. And we played sit-down tennis, and she was thrilled. And so I try to bring back some things that they used to do. I have a guy that used to play baseball, so we play sit-down baseball. I throw the softball to him. He hits it with the bat. He says he can still do certain things, and that gets them excited. So.
Oh, that's terrific. So, Debra, for our listeners that may be near Ventura, California, near you, and may want to connect with you and find out more, how can they find you?
You can always go to my website, which is custombodysolutions.net, or you can call me or text me if you're like me and you're running around doing multiple things. And my phone number is 805-207-7133. And I'd be happy to have a nice conversation with anybody that just had questions about their specific situation, either with themselves or their loved ones. But, 99% of the time, I'm going to be able to improve the life of somebody, whether they are, in a wheelchair, in a walker, whatever the situation is. Maybe they have shoulder injury. I've had clients that have had 3 different areas they had to avoid, and we still get a really great workout. So anyways, I do work with all ages. I just specialize in the older adults, but I also have people, I have a lady on my website that's in her early 50s, and she had the knee issue, and she lost, I think, 50 pounds. And so I still do that kind of thing as well. But that's my specialty, is people that need a special custom workout.
I really love hearing everything that you're doing, Debra. I appreciate you taking the time to come on the program today, because this has been great information. So I wish you continued success for yourself and for all of your clients.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
That wraps up another episode of our Health, Nutrition, and Fitness Special Edition. If you know a remarkable expert, business, person, place, or thing that we should feature on the show, drop me a line on my email, radioguest@markimperial.com. That's radioguest@markimperial.com. Until next time, I'm Mark Imperial. Take care and make it a remarkable week.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.